everyone, and welcome back. If this is your first time, I hope you'll stay. Espero que te quedes. Hoy vamos a estar hablando de la identidad regional. So, regional identity. Now, this is a massive thing in Spain, perhaps more so than in our country or in other countries that I'm familiar with. So, today we're going to be looking at a little bit of everything and what it means when we refer to Identidad regional, because this is one of the questions you will get when you're doing your exams, okay? I've put a map so you can easily identify the different comunidades autónomas. So go back and check, and I'll also leave a list down below. So there are 17 autonomous communities, 17, and then get this, on the African continent, yes, you heard right, Africa, Spain has two ciudades autónomas. So you have two cities in the middle of, or not in the middle of Africa, but on the African continent, at the north. You have Melilla and you have Ceuta. There is an interview with a girl from Melilla that you can go and watch. It talks a little bit about that. Okay, so that's quite interesting. ¿Qué es una comunidad autónoma exactamente? Pues es un territorio que it has the right to govern itself, so it has its own rules. Not saying they have to ignore what is the national sentiment or the rules of the whole country, but they have their own put in place. So they have local control, but they also answer to the central government also. Okay. When we're discussing cultural identity, regional identity in Spain, these are some of the things you might want to consider. La gastronomía, which is the food. It differs from region to region. The language, los idiomas. Hay idiomas que te dicen de dónde es una persona o de qué región es. You have Spanish, which is the official language, which is spoken all over Spain. But then you have Euskera, you have Gallego, you have Valenciano, which are co-official languages. And then you have others that are not really official, but you hear them. So it's not just political or administrative. It's a social construct. It's what joins us together, joins them together. Us, like I'm a Spaniard. Okay, it's what joins them together. It's historical similarities. It's what brings two places or three places or however many places together to form that community. So it's not just laws, it's a cultural, it's a social structure. Okay, something that you ought to remember about each comunidad autónoma is this. Tiene una capital, so it has a capital, and then it has it has to have at least two provinces for it to be considered a autonomous community. I'm going to do Castilla-La Mancha because I know more about this region since I've spent more time here. So the capital of Castilla-La Mancha is Toledo, and its provinces are, let's see, so Toledo, it has Albacete, it has Cuenca, it has Guadalajara, and it has Ciudad Real. So each comunidad autónoma has this sort of structure. It has the capital, one capital, and then it has its provinces. Okay, the region of Castilla-La Mancha, it may not click in your head, but what if I was to say to you, Manchego Cheese, if you're a cheese lover, I am sure that rings a bell. So, the region of Castilla-La Mancha, well, they call themselves Manchegos. Soy Manchego, soy Manchega, means that you are from Castilla-La Mancha. And it is famous for queso manchego, Manchego cheese. if you've not already been doing this in Spanish literature, you will in the future. Don Quixote. So you might have heard of the writer Cervantes. It's like our version of Shakespeare, basically. That's how big a name it is. So there's a book called Don Quixote. Does that ring a bell? Don Quixote? Look it up. And so in Castilla-La Mancha, not far from where I live actually, there's a route. They have Rutas de Don Quixote. So wow, this comes out in the book. This comes, and so that's something to feel proud of. Soy de Castilla-La Mancha. It's that pride from that you're from a certain region and you walk with pride in that, knowing that you're from that place. Okay, if I was to say to you La Rioja, which is another famous region, what would you think of? Rioja, the wine, right? This place is famous for wines, good wines. And so again, this is a tag that goes with that place. When you say Rioja, people associate that with wine. That's a regional identity. Another fantastic marker for you is accent. So accents are a brilliant form of identifying people from different regions. So not only is language important, but your accent, or sometimes your dialect, you could say. Remember that there are words that are very used in some regions and not others, or easily identifiable because you associate them with certain regions. There are things you say in Madrid that you don't say down south. There are things you say in País Vasco that you would never say anywhere else, and so on. So, accents and your language, the way you talk as well, your vocabulary. Okay, we can't forget about los días festivos, so festive days. What's really nice that you will see around Spain is that each community will have a special day for that community. For instance, the community where I live is called Castilla-La Mancha, and you have a day for Castilla-La Mancha where obviously it's brilliant because you don't go to work, it's holiday. Brilliant. So everyone has a day like that. Depending on the community you're from, it changes. It's a different day for everyone. What's also really nice that brings people together is a flag. We're used to seeing countries having their flags. Brilliant about this, each comunidad autónoma has una bandera y un escudo. So they have their flag and a coat of arms. Brilliant. Another element that's worth considering when you're thinking about cultural identity is sports. So I'm thinking of football as specifically, and water sports, or certain sports that you do in the mountains that are associated with certain areas, and obviously the kind of area you live in, whether it's got lots of mountains or plains, will determine what kind of sports are played or are popular in that area. As I'm on sports, I'd like to mention that conflict that you always note in Spain. Always note that conflict between Barça and Madrid when it comes to football. You know, every region has their team that they support and they walk with that and they're proud of that. And so it's worth mentioning, just in case you want to use that as one of your points to talk about when you're doing your project. Okay, climate, el clima. Do you think the climate has something to do with the way people are? Because the behavior of people, well, it changes depending on where you grow up imagine if you're up north where it rains a lot more. Those people, I think, are more similar to the people of north of Europe. I think they are more punctual. Forgive me. But I think they're more punctual in general. That's a personal opinion. And where down south, I think they're a little bit more, not so punctual, a little bit different. I can see the difference in personality. And on the islands as well, the Spanish islands, again, there's a difference in the way people behave. Maybe there's something in that. That's worth researching. Does the climate affect the way people are from different regions? The way they interact socially, the way they are professionally? That's a really valid point, and I would love to investigate that further because it's so different. It is so different. So that is the end of the video for me. So remember, when you're doing la identidad cultural, no, regional, I'd like for you to bear these things in mind. The food, holidays, festive days, sports, laws, as laws might change from one place to another, social construct, as what you do up here, you might not be able to do down there, and so on. Language, massive one. Cultural, instead of historical events that may join, which is a big point, may join people. So historical points you might want to research further. And what else did we do? Accents, I think I covered that. So yeah, I hope that this video will help you when talking about identidad regionales en España. Okay, so regional identity in Spain. That's it for me. Don't forget to subscribe if you've not already done so, and let me know what else you'd like to see. Adios.